What's going on, everybody? It's Timothy Wills from T-Dubs Entertainment, and I was gonna do a in-depth video on my thoughts on Super. I said I was gonna break it down, why I don't like it, and because I'm just showing you I can do more than just rant. I can explain in detail what I don't like about Super, what I don't like about it. Just instead of saying it's the worst writing ever, I'm gonna explain why I believe it's the worst writing ever, and hope you're ready. But I'm gonna dive into it. Let's start with the Battle of Gods arc. What I don't like about that arc, I'm gonna show you the things that I don't like about it, why I hate it. It's like they incorporated things into the series that wasn't a part of Z, that was nowhere in. If you're gonna add lore and all these things to Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z, and that wasn't connected in any way to the end of the series, it's just a bunch of random insertions, like all this God Key and stuff like that, and it wasn't mentioned at the end of Z. Now I can see if there were some things at the end of Dragon Ball Z that were present that didn't make sense to the audience back then, and you wanted to incorporate those ideas, expand on those ideas in Super, and introduce those things into Super and make it make sense all the way up until the end of Z. You can enter let's say if you had some fighters at the tournament at the end of Dragon Ball Z that you didn't know anything about, or I'm not talking about but let's say if Beerus and Whis or somebody was already present at the end of Z that you never seen them, you never heard them before, they just appeared, and then later on you make a series incorporating them into the series, and you'll be like, okay, that makes sense, I can connect it. With Super, you can't connect anything to the end of Z. There's nothing you can really connect, because a lot of things are so far off the rails, it's just so random and so out of place that you can't connect that stuff. But let me go into Battle of Gods. It was a rehashing of the movie. I don't think they should have incorporated Battle of Gods into the series, and here's why. One, they made it worse. A lot of the scenes that were there, they made it worse. They were significantly less impactful in the anime versus the movie. Just like the Vegeta scene when he was, the whole My Bulma scene when he was mad at Beerus for slapping Bulma. The way it was in the movie was fine. Just like Bingo, Funtime Bingo, that scene was actually funny in the movie. A lot of things in Battle of Gods were actually, you could actually enjoy it, even though the movie wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the best movie, but the anime adaptation was a lot worse. The way they did it was way significantly worse. The Goku versus Beerus fight was a lot worse, as far as everyone knows about the animation and all that kind of stuff. But it's just the way the fight was shown. It was not very excuse me. It wasn't very well displayed. The whole fight, it was everything that the anime tried to do. It was like bland. It was like It was like you had a seasoned steak in the movie. It was seasoned steak dinner. Everything was great, and then you go, like, the anime version was like a TV dinner. So it was a lot of things that made it impactful. They took it out. It should have stayed a movie. It should have indeed stayed where it was as a movie. It should have been a standalone movie, and it should have been in a standalone universe. It shouldn't have been a part of Toriyama shouldn't have incorporated this into a series. If he was going to do this, it should have been in its own standalone universe. That's just the way I feel about it, because it's not it doesn't fit into the series. None of this Super stuff fits into the series at all, because a lot of the lines that were at the end of Dragon Ball Z they don't coincide with the series, not one bit, because it was supposed to have been 10 years of peace. Nothing in Super simulates peace. There was a whole lot of not peace going on. So it was a lot of things that were contradicting to the end of Z. They're like the Pans being born older, being born sooner. It's like the kids are being born out of place. Trunks and Goten are still children. So a lot of this stuff is not it's not lining up. It didn't add up, because when at the beginning of the series, we're not at the beginning. Goten and Trunks are still small, because this is not long after Kid Buu. This is as far as later on in the series. But anyway, We're gonna go into and also um, Battle of the whole My Boma scene. It was all drawn out. It was all over exaggerated. Tried to add tension, trying to add emotion to it. But when in the Battle of Gods movie, that scene was good enough. When Beerus slapping Boma, and him immediately getting mad and powering up and fighting Beerus, that was enough right there. You could have had the audience with that. It should have been left in its own standalone movie, not incorporated into the series, not drawn out. That wasn't something that should have been drawn out into a multi-episode segment. That should have just stayed a movie, because it was not enough material in there. So they tried to drag it out, they tried to pad it to try to make it multiple episodes, just like Resurrection F. And it should have stayed a movie, because there wasn't enough material in there to turn into a series. Okay, let's go to Resurrection F. Resurrection F. Only thing satisfying about Resurrection F is you get to see Vegeta beat down on Frieza a little more. But what I hated about Resurrection F, they didn't give Vegeta his win. That should have been Vegeta's arc. Out of all these arcs, you could have had Vegeta defeat Frieza. You could have had Vegeta, that being Vegeta's personal moment. You could have had Dave. You could have had Goku fighting first or whatever, but you should have had Vegeta should have had his moment. That arc should have been about Vegeta. You could have had the whole focus and training on Vegeta. Vegeta sharpening his skills, Vegeta catching up to Goku, things like that. All that could have been incorporated in there. Him obtaining God power on his own, stuff like that. If you were gonna do it, like I said, I don't like these things. I don't like the whole concept of Golden Frieza. I don't like any of this stuff. But they have a right to write the show how they want. However, if you're going to have a build up of letting Vegeta fight Frieza, why would you make Frieza win again? Why not give Vegeta that win? I hate the way they bait and switch when it comes to Vegeta. They make it seem like they hype it up and make it seem like Vegeta's gonna get a win, and they always find a way to take it away from him. I don't like that. Like, a lot of the fans don't like that. They're not. It's like it's all catering to Goku. When you have a whole variety of Z fighters there that need spotlight, that can get spotlight, that can get a shine, that can defeat enemies. They make everybody useless except for Goku, and I don't like that. I don't like the way the arc was written. They explained a little bit through the training how they got their Super Saiyan God and all that stuff, but it didn't give me enough. But as far as the movie goes, they didn't give us anything either. I don't think Resurrection F was a good place to reveal the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. I'm going to tell you where the best place to reveal that would have been in the tournament, the Universal 6 tournament against Hit. That would have been the perfect place to reveal Super Saiyan Blue. That would have been the perfect place, because and that would have been a perfect place to start Super. If they were going to start Super, they should have started it with that tournament. They should have been, lounging at the house and all this other good stuff. After Battle of Gods, after Resurrection F, it should have took place right after that. But if you really want my honest opinion, it should have took place after Dragon Ball Z. And you have a Universal 6 tournament and things like that. Overall, Super should have taken place after Z. It should have been a fill-in slot, because now you have a limited space to work in. You don't have but so much space to work in. If you take place after Z, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to try to tie it into the end of Z and all that other stuff. You can go wherever you want to go. They should have started out, if you're going to do Battle of Gods and all this God Key stuff, I'm not saying I like it, but it would have been better after Dragon Ball Z. They shouldn't. Tying it into Z is what ruined everything, because if you take it after Z and put it in its own universe, it don't matter what you do with it, because it's in a standalone. Just like all the other movies, the Broly movie, Takako Yoma and Toriyama, they said all those movies took place in their own universe. Like BoJack and all of them, they were their own universe. That's where the whole multiverse thing came from. It should have been its own standalone universe. Super should have his own. It took place after Z, just like GT, his own alternate universe, alternate timeline. That's what it should have been. It would make that way it could suck all at once. Then you can make it suck all at once. Now, because it's not a part of Z. It's not an appendage or attachment to Z. But like I said, Resurrection F. With Resurrection F, the whole thing with Piccolo dying and giving his life, that scene right there, they tried to emulate the whole Nappa, him saving Gohan from Nappa, and it was less impactful. They're trying to, and that's another thing I don't like about Super. They always tried to rehash things from Dragon Ball Z, all the impactful things, everything that made Z meaningful and impactful and emotional. They tried to go back and rehash it and recapture those moments, and it just didn't work. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for a lot of the hardcore fans, because that whole scene with him sacrificing himself for Gohan, that should have never happened. It was dumb, because there was it's just not, there was no meaning there. Because now I can see if he sacrificed himself and Gohan powered up enough to beat Frieza, then it would have had some meaning. But him just sacrificing himself to save Gohan and Goku still had to come save the day, it just wasn't working for me. Now if it would have, him dying would have turned the odds into the Z Fighters' favor. Like I said, let's say he spent the whole time trying to reawaken his old power, and he's like, I can't do this because I haven't trained, and I can't tap into this power. Let's say he's fighting in his Super Saiyan form and all this kind of stuff, and Piccolo jumps in the way to save Gohan when he's about to be killed, and he unlocks his ultimate form and beats Frieza. Now that would have been impactful. That would have been a better thing, or whatever enemy you want to put in that slot. All I'm saying is that if you're gonna do that, not saying that's how it should have went, but if you're gonna do it, see how much more meaning that has if it actually defeats the threat. But even but they but it was another, and the other reason why I say it's rehashing, because Goku again had to save Gohan. He had to save Gohan from the threat again. That was way too powerful for Gohan to take on. Because if you remember, if you go back to the Saiyan saga, I'm explaining, go back to the Saiyan saga and watch how Piccolo had to save him from Nappa, and he powered up and tried to blast Nappa, but it was no effect. Just like with this, he powered up and there was no effect. So with it not being, and Goku had to come in and save him at the last second, just like he did with Nappa. Nappa was about to step on Gohan with his foot, and Goku came in with the flying damage swoosh, and saved him. So that being said, it's like a rehashing, but it's not nearly as good. That's the scene that I didn't like. I liked how they let Vegeta beat on Frieza for more, but I didn't like how they didn't give him the win, both in the movie and in the arc itself. Now we can go what took place after Resurrection F. The Universe 6. Like I said, this is where the tournament this is where Super should have started. I like the tournament itself. I can't sit here and say that I didn't like certain aspects in it. Just like I like the whole Vegeta and Kaba thing. Some people may not have liked it, but I like the whole how Vegeta took on how he helped Kaba become Super Saiyan. He acted like he didn't want to at first. But he helped in the end. He helped Kaba transform. I actually like that, because that shows another side of Vegeta, that he can that he's actually willing to help somebody, and it's a good place in his development, considering, because he's had his arc in Z where he hated Kakarot, he only cared about himself, he only fought for himself. So that's a good spot when it comes to development for Vegeta. That's why and I actually liked how they used Vegeta in the tournament, gave him a chance to shine. Now they actually should have let him go all the way with Hit, but hey, you can't get everything you want. I don't think he shouldn't have gone down so fast with Hit. He just got beat just senseless. I don't think it should have ended that way. I think it should have been an all-out fight. But at the end of the day, Vegeta tires out, and he shouldn't have got. They always humiliate Vegeta. It shouldn't have been to a point where it's a humiliation. And I think they need to just stop doing that to this character. I don't like how they always humiliate Vegeta's character. It should have been an all-out fight, and he gets tired, or he tires out. He burns out of blue power, something like that, and Hit wins because Hit's constantly improving and Vegeta's not able to keep up. They should have made the fight a lot more interesting. They didn't give Vegeta a chance to fully operate in his blue power. He just got mollywopped. He just got curve stomped. I don't think that's fair for his character. Now Goku did the Kaioken and all that stuff, and Goku stood no chance either. But I really think they should have did more with the Super Saiyan blue power, since it was rather new in the first place. And because every time, and this is going to be a repetitive trope in Super, every time they introduce a new form, it gets curve stomped not long after it's introduced. And that's another thing I hated. I hated, one, the transformations that they've introduced, because of all the techniques and all this stuff. I liked Hit because he was a technique based character. The techniques he had was deadly, and Goku had to find a way to work around his techniques. Hit was based off techniques, and Goku having to find a way to he had to use some technique. He had to predict where Hit was moving. That's why I like those kind of things, because that's what I grew up with when it comes to Dragon Ball. Those, if you've never watched Dragon Ball before and you watched the tournament, some of those things where they had to learn techniques and all this kind of stuff, that is what was in Dragon Ball. Learning new martial arts skills, studying their opponent, learning their weaknesses, learning how to overcome them, learning how to counter those weaknesses. Things with just like when it came to Vegeta and Vegeta. That fight was interesting because he couldn't win off his brute strength alone. He had to use certain abilities even with Goku and who was that? Batamo, the big bear thing. That's why I like tournaments settings, because it brings you back to when they had to use those techniques to beat these characters. And I like tournaments. I don't like it was okay, even though the stakes was low, but a lot of tournaments had very low stakes. So even in Dragon Ball, the tournaments had very low stakes. They were trying to win prize money, they were trying to prove themselves and all that stuff. So tournaments have never had a high stake. It was just fun to watch, just like in the Underworld tournament with Goku and Dragon Ball Z. It was a filler arc, but I liked it. A lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it because I like the tournament aspects. Just like in the Dark tournament with Yu Yu Hakusho, I like tournaments. That's just me. That's my preference. Some people might like other things concerning Dragon Ball. They might not have liked it, but that's one thing I did like about Super was the Universe 6 tournament. It ended kind of silly, but hey, what can you say? It's Dragon Ball, so there are some things that I do expect. And now after that, what did we have? I'm not a big fan of the copy Vegeta arc. I might just skip that one because I wasn't a fan of that at all. They could have saved that one. Yeah, they could have saved that arc because I'm not a fan of it. Them copying Vegeta. Now, what I found interesting is in the English dub they used Brian Drummond's voice for a copy of Vegeta. Now that's what I found interesting. But other than that, the rest of it was kind of dumb. Because Goku still had to come in and save the day, and they still had to. It was just they could have did something else. I just didn't like it too much. It was a waste. It was like they were trying to I don't know, like they were trying to be creative, but it went wrong. It was like it was mostly for kids, and then they humiliated Gotenks' character. They've always done that throughout. Super Gotenks was a joke. Whenever he appeared, he was a straight up joke. So, I mean, I'm just not. They ruined that character for me. I hate how they treated Gotenks' character. I hate how they made Goku had to come in and save the day, and I just that trope is just getting old. It was just getting old real quick, and the only tension part of it was if they didn't beat Copy Vegeta in time or find out how to destroy it, Vegeta would have disappeared, and that's the only part that added tension to it. So see, I can go into detail and tell you I don't like something without saying it's garbage and just saying it's trash and moving on. I can tell you why I believe it's garbage. There's no those things are why I hated it, okay? And the Goku Black Ark, I can tell you, let me tell you why it sucks. I believe it sucks. Why I believe it's garbage. They had a very interesting concept, okay? They had an evil version of Goku. They had this way, it was ominous, the way they started Trunks. It started in Trunks' timeline, and it was very ominous. It started out like he was running from his life. Okay, what would have Trunks scared? The man that killed the android single-handedly, the man that destroyed Imperfect Cell, what would have him running for his life in fear? And it turns out it's an evil version of Goku. Now, some people say it should have been Goten and all this other stuff. I disagree with that. I believe since they're playing around in other universes, it should have been Goku from another universe, from another timeline or something like that. You have all these different timelines because they were introducing time rings and different things like that. They had an interesting concept, but they did nothing with it. How it should have been a timeline and all that stuff. When they had such and such created new time rings and different things like that, it should have been to where an alternate universe was created, alternate timeline. It should have been a Goku from an alternate timeline. You know what I'm saying? So instead of the fact that Zamasu was Goku Black, Zamasu stole Goku's body, that was very unoriginal, because that trope has already happened in the Frieza saga. And when Captain Ginyu stole Goku's body and all of that stuff and was using it to, so that trope has already happened. This is like a lot of rehashes, and the fact that he started with Trunks' timeline was kind of ridiculous to me. If he hated Mortal, so why would you go, instead of going, why didn't you try to trash your own universe? Why didn't you steal Goku's body and then go back to the current timeline and try to get revenge on that Goku instead of going to Trunks' timeline? Because he originally went to a timeline where Goku didn't exist because Goku was dead. He terrorized the Trunks timeline, so it would have made more sense to. I don't understand. I'm not understanding why he would go to Trunks' timeline. None of that made any sense to me. Why not go to the current Goku's timeline? Why not terrorize that timeline? If you wanted revenge so bad, you go into an alternate timeline to have a Zero Mortal plan, and not only that, your Zero Mortal plan, it was just on one planet only, on Earth. He killed all the gods of destruction. He killed by killing the Supreme Kais, and he destroyed the Super Dragon Balls in that universe. But why? That's an alternate timeline. It's not the timeline. If he was so angry with Goku, it was an alternate timeline. You go to a place that he doesn't exist. You go to a timeline where it's just Trunks, and none of that made any sense to me. All these concepts, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. I didn't like the way it was executed. You had a great concept, and Evil Goku was already a fan concept. You had Turles with Triamite, then you had other concepts on the internet. And another thing I don't like about Super is they get a lot of things off the internet. They steal from the internet, just like these different hair colors. Super Saiyan Blue, Goku with blue hair was already a thing on the internet. All that you could have Googled Super Saiyan Blue. I mean, you could have Googled Goku with blue hair or Goku with green hair. All these different colors. All that stuff was. They took a lot of things off the internet, like Goku with red hair. All this stuff was on the internet. Goku with white hair. All of this stuff, it was on the internet first. Ultra Instinct, the whole Ultra Instinct thing. Goku with white hair, Ultra Instinct. There was already forums with Goku having white hair on the internet. So it's like they took a lot of things from the internet and turned it into a series, like the whole Evil Goku. It's like they took that off the internet and made it and put it as a series. So it's like you could tell they were running out of ideas. It's like they're having a fatigue, and I know they're going on a hiatus, which they should, because you can tell they're out of ideas. It's the best thing for them to do is to go on a hiatus, because they're obviously out of ideas. But I don't want to get too far off track. I want to first, you have the concepts that led to nowhere in this arc. Zamasu's trading bodies with Goku is very unoriginal to me. Him having this rose hair, it's cute and all, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's unoriginal. Like I said, it's just a palette swap. A lot of this stuff came off the internet. It should have been Goku, another evil version of Goku instead of Zamasu. Now, him working with Zamasu is perfectly fine, but I believe he should have found another evil version of Goku, and they worked together to implement the plan, the Zero Mortals plan. Now, that would have been neat. Him being another evil version, that would have been neat. But it's just it just made it boring to me. After that, okay, that's Zamasu in Goku's body. That's kind of weird. It was weird. And the fact I could forgive all that too if they would have let Trunks kill Merge Zamasu. The fact that he came back and just engulfed that whole timeline and just killed everybody anyway, which means Trunks lost because they had to call in Zeno to save the day, that just infuriated me. They screwed it up. How do you screw that? All of that could have been forgiven if they had just let Trunks save the day. If they had just let Trunks save the day, all of that could have been forgiven. All of that could have been I could have overlooked all of that. Once Trunks, even the butt pull that he used when the Genki Dama sword, I could have forgiven that too, even though it's a butt pull. The whole Mafuba thing, how Trunks learned it just by looking at YouTube. All those things are butt pulls. Goku spent 2 days learning that thing. He spent 2 days learning it. Was it 48 hours, 24 hours, one of those? 22 hours. He spent a whole day learning it. The whole training sequence that Goku went through before he went back to the future, learning that, and Trunks just learned it by watching Piccolo. I thought the whole thing about Piccolo being able to show them and them ignoring him, I thought that was funny too, because I thought it was funny. But Bulma acknowledging that he knew it and had them had Piccolo do a demonstration on God too, I thought that was funny. I thought it was, I did think that part was funny. But Trunks just learning it by watching it, I don't think that's good writing. The Super Saiyan Rage transformation, I think that was just a butt pull out of nowhere. They could have now him just pulling that transformation out. I just don't think it. I didn't think it was a good idea. Now, if he found another level in Super Saiyan, if he unlocked Super Saiyan 3, or I wouldn't have been mad at that if he would have did a Super Saiyan 3 or a powered up version of Super Saiyan 2. I wouldn't have been angry with that. Or if he even let's just say he learned Super Saiyan Blue by training with Vegeta. Let's just say he learned it, and it shows a training sequence of him training in the time training with Vegeta, somewhere like that. Him going through some kind of training, and Vegeta teaching him how to hold his ki inside his body, and him going in the time training for a day, which is a year's worth of time, and them actually just spending that time learning, giving Trunks Super Saiyan Blue. I can even forgive that, but having Super Saiyan Rage, You know, because all Super Saiyan Blue is Super Saiyan God with blue ki. I mean, yeah, Super Saiyan. It's Super Saiyan God with the power of a Super Saiyan. That's all Super Saiyan Blue is. And because a lot of people confuse in the beginning. We all know what it is. We're not crazy. It's just, I'm not going to talk down to people and insult their intelligence. It's just, but for the people, it's just a Super Saiyan with Super Saiyan God ki. The Super Saiyan God is the red hair. Just, you take that transformation and you transform into a Super Saiyan. That's all it is. But if Vegeta could have taught Trunks God ki, or they could have gave it more time. Let's say, okay, it's gonna be 2 days before the time machine's fixed, or it's gonna be 10 days before it's fixed. He could have took him in the time chamber and trained him. They could have removed the stipulations, took him in the time chamber. He learned Super Saiyan Blue, all that kind of stuff. I would have forgiven that, but Super Saiyan Rage, it's kind of him just having a butthole transformation. There's no explanation to it. There's no sequence. I would have even and it didn't look any different from any other forms. It wouldn't have looked any different. Like I said, I'm not a fan of transformations, but I would have forgiven it if they would have done it this way. If they'd have done it that way, they would have showed us some kind of explanation, some kind of sequence. Because in Dragon Ball Z, they had to earn all their powers. They had to learn them. Some of them had to almost die. Some of them had to, like I said, in order for Gohan to turn into a Super Saiyan 2 and unlock that power in the Cell games, they were getting beat to death. His dad was going to die. Everyone was going to die. If he hadn't transformed, 16 had to talk to him. Look, you have to do this. If you don't do this, you have to do this to protect the planet. Do this to protect the planet that I loved, and I would have did anything to protect this planet. You have the power to protect it, to protect the lives on this planet. If you don't do this, everyone's going to die. The world is going to be in danger. Everything is at stake here. You're the only one that can beat him. My senses picked up that you can beat him. You're the only one that has the power to do this. If you don't do it, we're all going to die. Everyone's going to die. So, they're high stake. You see the tension in this? No Dragon Balls were going to fix it, because I doubt Cell would let anybody collect them. You see what I'm saying? So, see the tension in this. You see the whole tension. You're wondering how they're going to get out of this. They had no way out except Gohan beating Cell. In Super, Beerus or Whis could just easily save the day. Beerus could get tired of him and just stomp him out himself. But but using lame time traveling rules and all that stuff to keep them out of the story, if you're gonna have lame rules to keep them out of the story, I don't think you should invite them in the story to begin with. So, because why not have a situation where an enemy comes that's stronger than Beerus or stronger than Whis, and Goku has to train. The only person that has the potential to take him out is Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, somebody. And they were afraid to turn in that direction. They were afraid to make the Z fighters actually stronger than Beerus and Whis. In the Buu saga, they weren't afraid to make Goku and Vegeta stronger than the Supreme Kai. Goku and Vegeta, they were stronger than all the Supreme Kai. They were stronger than all the gods. There was nothing they could do. It had to be Goku and Vegeta to take out Buu, or everyone was gonna die. Even with the Buu saga, people say it has its flaws. I agree, but during that time, they were the only ones that could even come close to having a chance. The Z fighters were the only ones close to being strong enough. The Supreme Kais were powerless. None of them. They all failed. They all were killed by Buu. All of them. The only one was left was the Supreme Kai. And like I said, the big Daikayo, what was that man's name? He was the big one, the one that Buu absorbed and became Fat Buu. I don't remember his name right off, but he was absorbed by Buu. He was the only one that had a smidget of a chance. But the rest of them were killed, except for the Supreme Kai. He sacrificed himself to save the Supreme Kai. See, I know my stuff. That's why I can tell you that Super is trash, because I know why. I know what I'm talking about. I know that the things that happen in Z, I know all of it. I've seen from Dragon Ball, from Goku being a young kid, the first episode of Dragon Ball, all the way up to the end of Z. I know everything in detail. From when Tamarine killed Krillin, when Krillin died the first time, that's what made Goku turn into a Super Saiyan on Namek, because he couldn't be wished back with the Dragon Balls, because the Dragon Balls were already turned to stone because Guru had died. You see what I'm saying? There was no way to wish anybody back at that time. At that point in time where Krillin got killed, there was no other way to bring Krillin back. There was nothing else. The only thing that saved Krillin was Guru coming back to life, because they used the Earth Dragon Balls to revive Guru, which revived the Namek Dragon Balls. So Goku was so upset, turned him into a Super Saiyan, because there was no way to wish him back. Once he got killed twice. The Dragon Balls can't wish you back twice. The Earth Dragon Balls can't. There was no other way to bring him back. So these are the feelings and emotions that are gone from Super. None of this is in Super. Piccolo getting killed by Frieza in the second thing, he was just brought back off screen. You see the difference? Piccolo died let me compare it to Piccolo dying from Nappa. Piccolo died when he got beat by Nappa, right? Piccolo got killed by Nappa, right? They had to travel across the universe. They had to go to Namek. They had to go through they had to fight a tyrant. They had to take the dragon. When they went to Namek, a tyrant, Frieza, had the Dragon Ball, had 4 of them in his possession. They had a bunch of soldiers that were just as strong as Vegeta, some even more powerful. They had the Ginyu Force they had to go up against. They had to go through all these obstacles just to wish Piccolo back. Just to wish Piccolo back. There was in order for him to wish their friends back. Now people are just getting brought back off screen. Someone died, oh, they're back tomorrow. Oh, boom, Shenron brought them back. None of that is present. That's why I'm telling you, you gotta go back and watch Dragon Ball Z. Look what everything Goku had to do to bring back the people that Piccolo Daimao killed. He had to beg Kame to revive the Dragon Balls. Kame told him to go home. He had to kill Piccolo. He had to go through all this trouble. He had to get beat up, almost die. He almost died. Piccolo almost killed him. If it wasn't for the Dragon Ball in his uniform, Piccolo would have shot him and killed him. I'm trying to remember if he sent a beam through his heart, or if he I think it was some kind of thing like that, but or did a mouth beam. But because Piccolo, that's what I liked about Piccolo's character. He did mouth beams, laser eyes, all kind of stuff, all kind of death attacks. But he almost killed Goku if it wasn't for the Dragon Ball. His heart stopped and he came back to life. But like I said, this kind of tension is not in Super. But he had to go all across. He had to go through all this trouble to gather the Dragon Balls for his friends when they died. When he was on in Dragon Ball, to revive Krillin, he had to, and then Piccolo Daimao wished for his youth and destroyed destroyed Shenron. So at that point, there were no hopes of bringing his friends back, and he went to go see Kame to try to hope that he would fix the dragon. You see the adventure and all of this stuff, because the situations were hopeless. Even in the Buu saga, it's crazy. The situations were hopeless. Buu had killed everyone on Earth. Everything was hopeless. The only thing that could stop him was Goku or Vegeta, or one of the Z fighters, the Spirit Bomb. And it took everything they had. They literally had to make a wish on the dragon to bring Goku's strength back, so he could be strong enough to push the Spirit Bomb to kill Majin Buu. Everything was hanging by a thread. Everyone was at the edge of their seats. And none of this goes on in Super. None of this happens in Super. There's no tension. There's none of this. There's none of these emotions. Like I said with Goku Black. Gotta go back to Goku Black. A lot of those things. Trunks not killing him was just the worst decision they could have made. And I know they were trying to be different probably, or try to be more original, but it didn't work. It backfired. It was terrible. What else came out the Trunks? The future Trunks arc. Was it I think it was Hit. The mini arc with Hit. Him putting a hit out on himself. I think it was interesting because it showed how much more powerful Goku had gotten. I'm guessing so Hit been through all that, so it showed all that with Goku Black and all that. It showed how much more powerful he had gotten. But he overpowered Hit, even though use this new deadly technique that can puncture your heart and all this other stuff. But I don't like the idea of Goku being able to revive himself with a ki blast. That concept was kind of ridiculous to me. But hey, it is what it is. Check what you get out of anime. Not all of it makes sense. I guess I could say the Tournament of Power. And I'm going to stop after that because the continuation, I'll talk about what I don't like about the continuation. After the manga, I just got bored with it. But Tournament of Power, let's talk about the tournament. What I didn't like about the Tournament of Power, there was no cutaways to back on Earth. In our universe, you didn't know what everybody else was up to. It was just non-stop Tournament of Power, non-stop Tournament of Power, non-stop. And the fact that the Universe 7 was responsible for knocking everybody out of the ring. And it was certain things in there that didn't make any sense. A whole lot of different transformations, different power-ups. And it was just a power. I gotta get stronger. I gotta transform. I gotta get stronger. Goku has a new form. Goku's getting a new form. Vegeta's getting a new form. It was just transformation after transformation after power up after power up. Instead of techniques and skills like tournaments should be meant for, it was just power, transformation. I'm stronger than you, so I'm winning, and all this other stuff. It was not the ones that had the techniques like Master Roshi. Master Roshi had some of the most interesting fights. Even with Krillin, how he got beat early, that was disappointing. How Piccolo got beat by a roach, that was disappointing. How Tien, one of the most they just destroyed his character. He had the worst. They gave him the worst episode in the whole thing. I hated that episode because how they misused Tien's character. That was a massive disrespect. Even before the Tournament of Power, how they just disrespected Tien. The evil, spoofed up version of Master Roshi was stronger than Tien. And all of a sudden he said he's been doing some secret training. How is Master Roshi stronger than Tien? That doesn't make any sense. None of that made any sense, okay? And Goku had to save Tien. I don't like this. I don't like the fact that Goku had to save everyone. It's just trying to, like, they're sending the message that none of these Z fighters can do anything without Goku, and I don't like that. And the fact that Master Roshi was on the level of base Goku, I just didn't like any of that stuff. It just didn't make any sense. Android 17 being as strong as Super Saiyan Blue Goku just by being on an island fighting and all that other stuff. It's like they had to give everybody power-ups just to compete in this tournament, and a lot of it was it either had crappy explanations or no explanation at all. The fact they got this strong, everyone got a power. Even Krillin was astronomically more powerful because in the tournament, Krillin was fighting on the level of Android 18. So, you can tell Krillin got a decent power-up. He wasn't as strong as 18, but they were actually doing things as a team. They were fighting as a team. They did tag teams and stuff like that. And I thought that was interesting until they made him get eliminated early, which was kind of crazy. I don't like that idea at all. They couldn't save that one. How he got eliminated by Frost. I don't like that. It was a lot of the whole Ribrianne thing. It was just annoying. I was just hoping she would go away the whole time. I hated it. It was just unorganized. The whole tournament was it was drug out. It was longer than what it should have been. The whole Battle Royale thing, it was just a terrible idea. Honestly, it was a horrible idea. And I just don't like it. I think they should have did it another way than that. They should have had one universe against another and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it should have been just a whole battle royale, everybody against everybody. I don't like that idea. I never liked it, and it's just, I really didn't like it at all. The exhibition matches were okay, like Goku versus Botamo. I'm not a huge fan of it. It was alright, but it wasn't nothing I would go back and rewatch. None of this stuff was anything I'd go back and rewatch. It was okay, but it even I did like how Gohan had to re-unlock his potential again, uh, and how strong Piccolo had gotten just by training. I do like that idea. There's certain things I like about Super, but I'm explaining what I don't like. I'm telling you why I think it sucks overall, because a lot of the things that it introduced, it was an attempt to rehash Z, and it just didn't work. A lot of things they did, just like even the transformation, Super Saiyan Blue evolution for Vegeta, that's just Super Vegeta with blue hair. That's all it is. The Ultra Instinct stuff, and they just try to do nods to previous series, like Frieza healing Goku, say remember what happened on Namek, and all this other stuff. And Frieza, them using Frieza to be this quote unquote anti-hero and all that stuff. Frieza, a lot of this stuff is out of Frieza's character completely. They're making Frieza stronger than ever. I didn't like it. I think Frieza just should have stayed dead. He should have stayed there, even if they could have brought him back. Let's just say they brought him back in Resurrection F. I don't think he should have been nearly as strong as he was. I think he should have been just like, let's just say Cell Max, the whole Cell Max thing. What happened with that? It was crappy, but I'm gonna tell you. Let's just say they did bring Frieza back in Resurrection F. I think they should have just made him a Gohan level threat. Let's say he did all that, he trained in this room or something, had some kind of specialized training, and they showed him training. They showed him doing all it, and if they showed him training and showed it in the days to come before he got to Earth, but him still not being as strong, they should have made him maybe Ultimate Gohan level if they were going to make him stronger. They should have made him that a little bit below, like Super Saiyan 2 level, Super Saiyan 3 level, and Gohan unlocks his ultimate form and beats him. It shouldn't have been nearly this strong, nearly as strong as he is now. I mean, he was in Resurrection F. The power up that he got was just out of pocket. I don't like the amount of strength that he gained just from beating somebody up every day. It was just tacky. It was out of taste. It was inexplicable. You can't get stronger just by much stronger just by beating someone up, and you call that training. That's just not how it works. Now, if you have scenes, now if they've been spying on Goku and Vegeta, and he trains based off his knowledge of Goku and Vegeta's new moves, new techniques, and what they've accomplished so far, and then he trains based off of that. Let's say he trains for a year or 2 years. Something like that. He's just out there training. Now I can understand that. Let's say they got brought back. He been training throughout the tournament, and then he tried to come back maybe a year later, 2 years later, and he's about as strong as, like I said, right under Ultimate Gohan. That's understandable. I can deal with that. Because he's just not freaking overpowered over everybody. Because I don't like that. Shit shouldn't have been that powerful. Like I said, the tournament of power, it wasn't. I think it was more so for kids. Because the only person that enjoyed it was Zeno, and he's a child, so it was just for children. There were things that I liked in it, but it's a lot of stuff that just didn't work for me. And like I said, all the tension, it's just a watered down version of Dragon Ball Z. There's no real tension, there's no real nothing, and then just everybody got brought back, and for them to threaten that all the universes will be erased that lose, I just don't like that idea. I never liked anything about that. So there you have it. That's the anime version. And like I said, with the manga, things just got a whole lot worse. The manga is its own adaptation, so I would have to go over that in a separate video, because like I said, I stopped following it at the moral, because it was just, the moral arc, it's just like they just stole a lot of things from the Piccolo Daimon arc, from the Saiyan saga, from the Frieza saga. They rehashed some things from the Cell saga. They just rehashed. They try to rehash Z. They try to bring back things that made Z meaningful, and it just didn't work because there was no tension there. It was the situations didn't call for those things they tried to do. Just like Piccolo sacrificing his life for Gohan, the situation didn't really call for that. They could have did it the way they did it in the movie. The movie Resurrection F was fine. They didn't have to do that. They could have started Super with the tournament. And like I said, a lot of stuff with the Moro arc, the Granola arc, a lot of that could have just it was just rehashings. And just the Granola arc, I've already voiced my opinion on the Granola arc. So I mean, this is why I think Super is trash, because a lot of stuff they tried to incorporate, it didn't work, because Z was way better because it had those meaningful moments. It had the tension. If certain things didn't happen, the world would have been doomed. Like in, let's say, the Piccolo Jr. arc. The Piccolo Jr. arc. If Goku didn't beat Piccolo, the world was doomed. If he wasn't strong enough to take out Piccolo, Piccolo was taking over the earth. Everything would have been over. He wasn't just trying to slaughter everybody on the planet, but it would have been over. In the Saiyan saga, if Goku didn't beat Vegeta, they were going to destroy that planet. They were going to kill everybody on the planet and try to sell it. Because I believe they had intentions to sell it, but they were going to kill them. Everybody was going to die. They were going to kill that planet. When he was fighting Goku, he was trying to destroy the earth. If they didn't beat Frieza, they were all going to die. There was tension there. They had to either beat Frieza, because there was no escape, because Vegeta tried to escape. They explored everything. Okay, what if they try to get away? Frieza was too fast for them. They would have never been able to escape. They couldn't just get out of there because Frieza was too fast. And then they was waiting on Goku to heal and all these different things. He was just too powerful. He could have just blew up the planet before they had the chance to escape. So they had to fight him and beat him. Even with Cell. Now, Cell could have been stopped, but they made a lot of foolish decisions, and he got the ups on him. And they were trying to find him, and everywhere they tried to look, and when they tried to, because they didn't have Goku, of course, because if they had Goku, they would have been able to find Cell and beat him, because he had instant transmission. They didn't have instant transmission during the Cell arc, so by the time they got to him, he had already matched his power. He had maxed his power, head to the next town, matched his power, absorbing people, until he got strong enough to beat the androids. Because at first he wasn't strong enough to fight the androids. He was weaker than the Piccolo after he merged with Kame. He was weaker than him. So once he absorbed enough people to where he was strong enough to challenge everybody, that's when he made this move. So he was very clever in how he went about doing things. It was a lot more tension. You was hoping that they stopped Cell, but at all their attempts, they weren't able to stop him. He was too smart for them. Even with Majin Buu, with all their attempts, he was outsmarting them. So that's what I'm talking about. And all these things are gone from Super. None of this stuff holds up in Super. All this stuff is just dry to me. Super is just dry. It's bland, dry, it's tasteless. And that's why I don't enjoy it, because it has none of the things in Dragon Ball that made me enjoy it. It has none of the things in Z. I enjoyed some of GT, just like the Shadow Dragon arc was a good arc, even though the execution on some of the things weren't as good because they didn't use all the Z fighters. They just used Goku for everything. They could have used other Z fighters. They could have had other things going. They could have had it to where the Z fighters were at least close to Goku's power level, not made him that much stronger. And it's just the fact that the rest of the Z fighters were useless to the main enemies was crazy to me. They should have at least made them close. Just like in Z, you were hoping at least that some of the Z fighters stood a chance against the main enemy at one point. Piccolo stood a chance against Cell at one point. He stood a chance against Frieza at one point. You had a smidget of hope. Just like with Vegeta versus Cell, he at least stood a chance against beating Cell until he got cocky. You see what I'm saying? In GT, none of that. Everybody was waiting on Goku. Everyone was trying to hold off until Goku. Vegeta stood no chance against Super 17. None of the Z Fighters stood any chance against him. None of the Z Fighters could even touch the Shadow Dragon. It took a Super Saiyan 4 Goku to do it. And that's what I didn't like about it. But anyway, I'm rambling on. And it kind of, with Super, it's like Super took that concept and made it worse. It's like no one could do anything without Goku. No one else even came close. The only arc that made anybody come close was Resurrection F, even though that was one of the weakest arcs in the whole thing. Because but Vegeta, at least Vegeta was close or equal to Goku's power. And in the Tournament of Power, Goku was so far ahead of Vegeta, it wasn't even funny because of that Ultra Instinct. But I think but I say this, I like about the Moro arc, how Goku had to learn how to re-tap into Ultra Instinct. That's the only thing I liked about it. He had to learn how to tap into that form again because he had to train with the angel. I don't like how the angel, was it Beerus? I don't like the fact that he just came back to life after his sacrifice. That made his sacrifice significantly less meaningful when they brought him back to life. I wish that he had just stayed gone, because that way his sacrifice would be a memorial. And I just don't and that's what it took for him to get his form. And oh yeah, Super, another thing, Super, the Super Saiyan transformation, how they rehashed it, the tingly back thing. No, guys, you know, this is new fans, y'all seeing this. What the original fans seen in Dragon Ball Z, what Gohan had to go through to become a Super Saiyan, what Goku had to go through, he had to watch his best friend die. His best friend blew up. He almost died. He had to fight Frieza with everything he had, and nothing worked against him. Everything he's ever tried, he tried the Spirit Bomb. Everything he did, nothing worked against Frieza. He had his best friend blew up in front of his face. That's some PTSD level stuff. In order for him to transform into a Super Saiyan, his best friend had to die. And the last, he was, and not only that, Krillin was crying out for Goku to save him. His last words, Goku. He cried out to Goku before he died. Do you know how impactful that is on that emotional trauma that goes behind that? They had to deal with all types of trauma. Even when in the Dragon Ball arc, he had to watch he was holding his best friend's dead body in his arms. You see the kind of stuff that the originals have. Master Roshi, all of they sacrificed their life to try to save Piccolo, and they died trying. They died trying. The Z Fighters were dying. They were getting killed. That's why that's my favorite. That's the first arc that had some real live tension. They weren't afraid to kill people off. Of course, they brought them back with the Dragon Balls, but look at the things they had to go through just to get the Dragon Balls back. You see the emotional impact. The last thing he called out to Goku before he got blown up. You see what I'm saying? You see the weight behind him becoming a Super Saiyan. And Vegeta, he had to go get to a breaking point as to where he didn't care anymore. He didn't care if he was stronger than all throughout the Frieza arc. He was striving to catch up to Kakarot, to be stronger, just as strong as Kakarot. He got to a point where he trained so hard till his body was broken, till he almost trained himself to death. He almost died trying to save himself because a meteor hit the planet, almost killed him. He almost died trying to become a Super Saiyan. He almost destroyed his body. And he got to a point, I don't care anymore. I don't care if I'm stronger than Goku. I don't care if I'm anything anymore. When he got to that point, he let go and he released. That's how he became a Super Saiyan. Anybody that, not talking down anybody's intelligence that's watched this stuff before. I'm talking to the new people that thinking the tingly back thing it's when it comes to the Super Saiyan stuff, it's worth something. No, these people almost died to become Super Saiyan. Gohan was going to die. He told Goku, he told his dad, the only way I'm gonna turn Super Saiyan, you have to come at me with everything you got. If Goku turned Super Saiyan and launched a Kamehameha at Gohan, if he didn't deflect that blast, if he didn't come out of that, he was going to die. It would have engulfed him, it would have incinerated him. Super Saiyan Goku full power versus base Gohan, base Kid Gohan with a full power Kamehameha. He launched a full power Kamehameha, everything he had. It would have killed him if he hadn't diverted it. It was either that or death. They had to transform or die. If Goku didn't become a Super Saiyan, they were all going to die on Namek. That's why they said it comes to a response to a need, not a desire. I don't know if that's the original thing or not, but I'm just saying this is the tension that we grew up with. This is the kind of stuff that we grew up with. We would have, these people, everything was at stake. Everything was at stake. They would have died. They went through hard way, put their bodies through all kind of stuff just to get stronger. They had to. When Goku was training on his way to Namek, he almost died 3 times, near death. That's why he got those Zenkai boosts. He almost died. He almost died when he fought. When Ginyu took his body, and Vegeta fought it. Vegeta's going to deliver the final blow. That body was going to die. Vegeta almost died against Raccoon. One more shot, he would have been killed. Gohan had his neck broke. You see these things? You don't see this stuff in Super. It was just la-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. The tingly back thing is an insult. It's an insult. This SL stuff, all this rehashing, it's an insult. All the stuff they had to go through to become a Super Saiyan. It's an insult in Super. You just use your tingly back. That's weird. It's just, I'm not used to this stuff. I'm used to the old stuff. I'm used to the stuff they had to work hard to get stronger. They had to work hard to learn new techniques. Some stuff Goku caught in very little time, yes, because he's a prodigy when it came to martial arts. But some things he had to go through hell to get it. That's all I'm saying. That's why I said the best thing they can do is go on a hiatus so they can rethink how they want to do this stuff. They need to bring back the stuff. I think Dragon Ball needs a reboot. They should just go back and reboot everything. Just start all the way over from the end of Dragon Ball. They should start all the way over and just have another universe or something like that. I think they should just do a reboot. Have a reboot with redo everything. Say that, look, they should just come out. The only way they save this thing, come out and say, hey, look, Super is just an alternate timeline. We were just doing something. It's just an alternate universe. You know, Dragon Ball Z, that's the only canonical thing that you can go off of. GT, Super, Dragon Ball Superhero, all that stuff, all the Super movies, that's just their own continuity, it's their own universe. Dragon Ball Z, the manga of Dragon Ball, that's the only thing. That's it, okay? That's the only source material. Dragon Ball, if it's outside of that, it's its own, consider it being its own continuity, its own outside universe. And that's the only thing that would save it, and just do a reboot and put that aside. It's its own universe. They should just separate it completely from Z. Them attaching it to Z was the worst thing, because now you're devaluing that's such a great series. Dragon Ball, they were good series. That you have a lot of memories there. Goku starting out as a kid, not knowing people, him not knowing what human parts are, and him meeting Bulma, them going on their first adventure, them meeting Master Roshi, them fighting in tournaments, him meeting Krillin, and Krillin hated his guts. They were rivals, and then them becoming best friends, and them running into people like Poir and Yamcha and Tien, them first meeting them for the first time, and then they became best friends. Those people went from hating Goku, wanting to fight him, wanting to kill him, to willing to sacrifice their life. And even, my goodness, all the things that Vegeta went through. from the Saiyan saga all the way up to the Buu arc. He went from trying to kill Goku, wanting to kill him, hating his guts, to willing to sacrifice his life for Goku. Go back to watch when he fought Kid Buu. He was willing to throw it all away just to save Goku, just to save everybody, to save the world. He went from one not caring about nobody but himself to willing to throw his life away to save everybody. You see what I'm saying? You see why I feel the way I feel about Super. I can explain things in detail. I can explain why it sucks. I can tell you why it sucks. Go back and watch that other stuff. I'm telling you. If you go back and watch Dragon Ball, if you can find it on the internet, on Crunchyroll somewhere, and watch those episodes, please go back and watch it. And you compare it to this new stuff. All you see now is transformation, power up, transformation, power up. Just no story whatsoever. Compare that to the Saiyan arc. Compare that to Piccolo Daimao. Compare that to the Piccolo Junior arc. Compare that to the Red Ribbon arc. Compare that to all that stuff. To when Goku fought Tien in the tournament. To when Tien. I'm gonna do a video on my favorite fights, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You know, Goku versus Mercenary Tao. Look at these other fights. Goku versus Piccolo Daimao as a kid. Goku versus Piccolo Jr. Goku versus Jackie Chun, aka Master Roshi, in the tournament. All these fights, man, they are so much better than a lot of things that Super provided. Some of it was choreographed. Yeah, some of those things were choreographed really well. However, doesn't compare to, let's say, Jackie Chun versus Tien Shinhan in the tournament. That was a good fight. The Goku versus Tien Shinhan, both fights in the tournament. Those are some good fights, man. You go back and watch that stuff. Like I said, Goku versus Master Roshi in the tournament. You got Jackie Chun, aka, he had a disguise. Those are some phenomenal fights. Those are some really, really decent fights. Goku, the first time Goku fought Vegeta, I'd say even the Goku versus Frieza, it was drawn out and stuff, but it was a good fight. Stuff like that. Those fights. The Piccolo versus 17, Android 17. Goku versus Cell. Goku versus Cell was better than Gohan versus Cell. So, because the way it was choreographed, the way that all the techniques that were displayed, because it paid the homage. Now they did Goku versus Cell. Go back and watch that fight. If you want to see how you can pay a homage to the past without just ruining it, that's how you do it. He used all the Z Fighters techniques against Goku, the multi-form, all that other stuff, special beam cannons, and it paid a homage to the past without just ruining the past. It was a combination of everything Goku and Gohan. It was a combination of all the hard work and training that they've had over the years. It just showed them how far they've gone. Just like Cell did the multi-form. It didn't work on Goku. None of that stuff worked because it showed you just how far he developed as a martial artist. Same thing with Gohan. His fight is not as good as with Goku's, but he used a Destructo Disc on Gohan. He used all the Z Fighters techniques, the rapid fire that Piccolo has. He used all their techniques. None of it worked. He used the Cell Juniors, which is in reference to the Cybermen Vegeta used, the Cybermen Vegeta used, and the Saiyan Saga. None of that stuff. Gohan powered through all that stuff. It showed you just how far Gohan came as a fighter. It didn't ruin the past. It just didn't overlook it. It didn't disrespect it. It was a tribute. It was paying an homage to it, but it didn't disrespect the past. So, like I said, go back and watch that stuff. It did a lot of things the right way. Like I said, I don't agree with every decision they made in those arcs, the Saiyan sagas, the Buu sagas. Like when they brought Goku back to life, certain decisions they made, but I could roll with it. I could forgive it because, it was still, overall, it was still a decent arc. I could still go back and watch it. It was still 1,000 times better than Super. You see what I'm saying? So, and I just, I still slick like the way it ended after the Kid Buu arc. I don't like how Goku just flew off with Oob, but I'd say this is still better than Super. Him flying off with Oob is still better than Super, and I'm just explaining why I think Super sucks. And I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all learned something from it. And if you go back and watch it, I hope you do see my point of view on this. Why I did rant so much, because I'm really passionate about this series. I really enjoyed this series. I grew up on this series. It's not now. I can't say it's my whole life, because I like other things too, like Marvel, DC, things like that. But this was one series that I'm truly passionate about, and I've written stories myself on what I would have wanted to happen in the series, and I was just that passionate. I had action figures, I had the games, I had Budokai 1, 2, 3, Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3, and all of these different things. I enjoyed it just that much. I had all the games, had all the action figures. I was a diehard Dragon Ball Z fan. So seeing what's being done to Dragon Ball, I don't hate Dragon Ball, I hate what's being done to it because of a lot of the things that I've explained. When you compare it to the stuff I explained in the original series, I hope you see why I don't like what's going on now, and why I think a hiatus is the best thing. Because a lot of things that happened with Trunks, it didn't happen in Z. It would have never happened in Z. The Dragon Ball Z Trunks would have never done these things. The Dragon Ball Z Goku, the way they did his character is different. It's not. The Dragon Ball Z Goku is not the same as Super Goku. It's just not the same. The way Goku handled Frieza on Namek, it ain't the same as he handled him in the Resurrection F arc. It's like he kind of regressed a little bit as far as character-wise concerned. And when it came to endangering the Earth, Goku didn't hesitate to kill. So a lot of things that they did, him trying to give people another chance and all that stuff that was endangering the Earth, he should have grown past that. A lot of things that he should have grown past. A lot of things he had to relearn and all this kind of stuff. It's just not. It's like it was a regression of his character. I don't like what they've done to Goku. I like Goku as a character. I just hate what they've done to him. The writers have done to him. All the writing was inconsistent. Vegeta writing was inconsistent when it came to stuff. He went from being mad at Kakarot, not really caring if he surpassed him or not, and certain arcs he just confused me. So I hate what was done to Dragon Ball. So don't get me wrong, I love Dragon Ball. I just don't like the writing that's happening now compared to how it was. I don't like it. But I hope y'all learned something. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'm gonna do more videos when it comes to my favorite fights. I might talk a little bit more about the original series, and to show off my knowledge and things like that, because I do know what I'm talking about. I do know. I'm not just some person just coming on here ranting just because, oh, it's stupid, it's trash. I can do a lot more than that, but I know my stuff. I know my Dragon Ball. I know it. I know the Super Saiyan stuff. I know all of that stuff. I know, the different types of dubs that were out there, the Funimation dubs, the Ocean dubs. I've seen all of it. You have the Japanese dub. You have the English dub, the Funimation dub with the Japanese music. There were all different types of stuff. The uncut versions. There are different dubs. There are different. I've heard a lot of different dubs and how they worded it different ways. The uncut version had a little more cussing in it and things like that. Had more blood. A lot of the blood that was in Z was missing from Super. It's just a lot of things. You see what I'm saying? So that's why, because I have something to compare it to, which is the original continuity, the source material of the original series. So, like I said, I'm gonna be doing more videos when it comes to this. I think they're on a hiatus. Yeah, like I said, they're on a hiatus. So you probably won't see any more rants unless they do come back with some more trash. But till then, I'll probably just do videos on some things that I liked about the original series, and stuff like that. But we're gonna talk more. I'll catch you guys later. T-Dubs Entertainment signing out.